Hello and welcome. Today I wanted to give you a build update before we begin Path of Exile 2 content, because the Path of Exile Druid content is coming up. I'm going to be streaming Friday after the reveal, and then I'll be streaming League Start for PoE 2. This build is... originally I called it Temu Steve, which it may still have that title, but I think it's its own thing now. It's the int stacking, accuracy stacking juggernaut that has been so popular this league. And I wanted to just go through the build and give you guys an idea of where it's at, because I don't have a mage blood, which means the budget for this is much lower, but it has been doing really well in Delve. So we are at, let's see, we are at about 800. You can see we've got down to 790. So basically 800. And that's all with this character. I've been playing this character nonstop for the last week. This character uses the clause for increased accuracy rating per 25 int. And we have a helmet that gives us 10% increased int, body armor that has the 6% increased attributes, the amulet that has 36% increased attributes. We have mirrored rings with a lot of int on them, Shaper's Touch, which gives us the some evasion rating, but mainly accuracy rating per 2 intelligence. We have the synth belt for increased intelligence, and then we have the boots that give us attack lightning damage per 200 accuracy rating. So this build has cost me probably about 60 divines at this point. The chest piece was about 8 divine. This was about 14. The gloves are cheap, obviously. The weapons are cheap. The boots are... the boots, I think, were about a divine. This talisman is a big part of the price. This thing was worth like 15 divine. And then we have some really nice cluster jewels that give us all attributes and increased effect. I ended up taking a lightning damage cluster jewel that gives us LE resistance and leech energy shield. We are leeching energy shield with CI and Ghost Reaver, so we don't regen energy shield. This isn't super efficient right here, this part. I mostly took it because I wanted the 10% of leeches instant per equipped claw, but that is bugged, supposedly, so I took it off. And then we have our split personalities here that are giving us a ton of int and accuracy. Since we are a juggernaut, we have unstoppable, which means we cannot be stunned. We have increased attack speed per accuracy rating. We have endurance charges, which is where a lot of our defense comes from. And alongside the fact that we cannot be stunned or our movement speed can't be reduced below base, we're taking natural affinity. I have a basic corrupt on mine. You can see, for some reason, anything that says FF in my game has not worked. It's been broken for the last week, so I don't know. It's a natural entity. And we get double damage per grasping vine and 1% less damage taken, and this doesn't slow us down too much because we are unstoppable. I created this new rating system called Can It Delve? This tests the ability of the build to do certain things at certain depths. And I was thinking that eventually we could Can It Delve something silly like a Flicker Strike build or a minion build or a ranger build, things that aren't usually delvable, but we could try it and see how it goes. So this build is obviously very delvable because it's very tanky and a lot of people are playing it. And the idea is that as we're going along, we can mark stuff off as never, sometimes, or always. So this build can definitely do 200 depth, so easy. Definitely do 350 depth, easy. The only time I think it would be hard to do 350 depth is if you're playing a ranger or something that's more glass cannon-y. 500 depth is definitely where your build starts to need to be able to delve specifically. You need like a really tanky, like good build for delve to do 500, and then 1,000 we haven't gotten to yet. I don't know if this build can do it, but we have gotten to 800, which is pretty close. Now, I streamed Can It Delve, and we went through the entire list together. We went through 200, the 350, the 500, and then we kept going for a couple minutes down here. The Grand Architect's Temple, you guys, I did it. I got a Machinarium map. It was the next node I did after I ended the stream last night, so this is the result. We did it. We're rich. I never thought it would happen to me, and it did, and I'm just really sad that it didn't happen on stream and while you all were watching, but it is what it is. So let me show you how this build plays. Now, the important thing I have here is we have non-vol strike skills target one nearby additional enemy, and we have Sion's Ambition, which says strike skills target 40% further away, and this was the biggest improvement to this build, the biggest quality of life adjustment by far. We are using Wild Strike, Purifying Flame of Revelations, we have Whirling Blades. Just know if you use Whirling Blades, you have to set your server setting to predictive instead of lockstep, because otherwise your Whirling Blades will teleport you backwards instead of forwards, because the attack speed compounds with the server in a very, very ugly way. And so we do end up getting a lot of AoE on this build because of the Sion's Ambition. The interesting thing about this build is it's meant for you to just stand in one spot. Like the Cyclone Slayer build I was playing, you kind of move around quite a bit, but this build, you just stand on one spot. Let me go through my skill gems real fast. So we have Wild Strike, alongside Awaken LE damage with attacks, Multi-Strike Volatility, Melee Splash, Awaken LE Pen, Lightning Pen. We have a lot of cast when damage taken, and this was taken from Steve's build. Purifying Flame of Revelations, Cold Snap, Sigil of Power, Immortal Call with more duration, and then Mark on Hit with Assassin's Mark. We have Whirling Blades, and for auras we have Purity of Fire, Arctic Armor, Blood and Sand. And I'm also running Precision because I had a free gem slot and I had free mana. Several people were recommending that I switch to Reeve, and I will probably end up switching to Reeve. That seems to be more comfortable for a lot of people. This build, because its defense is Leech, as long as you're attacking, it can survive. The hardest times for this build is when you're not actively damaging something. So the nice thing about this build is you can definitely farm the bosses. The Vault Architect boss is super easy with this build because you literally just stand there and attack him until he dies. You do have to watch out for the projectile attack, but otherwise it's super straightforward. The All Fight is also very straightforward, but obviously you have to play around Otemba and his mechanics a bit more than you would on the Vault Architect boss. These tornadoes actually are quite painful for me, so we just can't stand in them. And then I have this tincture that penetrates elemental resistances. We get our terrible maps out of here. It says Cartographer Strongbox, but it's Cartographer's weak sauce. I do think that the way the current build is now, it won't be able to do 1000 depth for the Time Lost Cavern, for Aul, for Ahotoli. I think that we're gonna need some upgrades, and unfortunately all the upgrades cost at least 60 divine right now. I am pretty close actually. I think I have about 40 divine, so we should be able to make upgrades soon. I don't know how much I'll get upgrades, and I don't anticipate playing this build much more on stream or on videos, just because Path of Exile 2 is coming up so fast, and we'll probably just be doing that coming up here. But as you can see, the build is super straightforward. You literally just stand in one spot and kill everything. Obviously, it's a little bit scarier down here. The increased area of effect means that I probably walk around more than I normally would. But this is, once again, a lazy build. It's my favorite, where I just play with one hand and hold the mouse button down and things die. And you can see the Azurite is much better at the lower depths. 1500 for tier 2 node. That's about 300 more than you would get. So it's one extra resonator versus depth 350. So for 500 depth, you get 1 extra resonator per node, which is about 2 or 3 chaos. So maybe not worth it to go this far down just for that. But yeah, we'll see where we end up. For this build, I am a little sad that we don't have a mage blood this league, but I've been putting the money into other things, and it's been also kind of interesting to see how far we can get without it, because everyone thinks you need it, and I don't think that's true. I think you can easily play the game without it. It's a big quality of life, and it does make you go a lot faster. So this build will be a lot faster with the mage blood for sure. For flasks, I'm running diamond, quicksilver, quartz, and silver. Obviously quartz just for phasing. Quicksilver was a huge quality of life improvement. Definitely recommend that. We have crit strike for damage, silver for damage, and then a tincture for Ellie Pen. So overall, would I play this build again? I don't know. This build is really frustrating to get started. Maybe now that I know how it works, it's better, but stackers in general are kind of painful to get up and running because the investment is so high. I kind of prefer something like the Cyclone build, where it's much more straightforward to get going. And I did make a minion build this league, but didn't play it quite as much. So overall, I think we've ended up in a really good place for this build. But it was a lot of pain to get there. So see if you want to try something like this yourself. A lot of people are playing this. There's a lot of really good YouTube videos on this build for budget versions. And obviously Steve is doing this one. I think Steve switched to Flicker Strike though, which I have no plans on playing Flicker Strike right now. Although it would be fun to test it. I think that I've never played it. It seems hard to watch. That is all for this build for now, and for keepers for now. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the Path of Exile 2 content. I hope so. We'll be playing Druid Bear, Druid Cat, whatever they release, we'll see. And then I will give you all my thoughts on the content reveal. And for now, I have a great morning, day, evening, whatever it is. I hope it's awesome, and I will see you all later. Bye!